Hey, how's it going? Hello, everybody. We kind of got off on a late start. Sorry about that. Having technical difficulties, as usual. Um, who and what do we have?
Let's see, I'm pulling up the chat right now.
Okay.
Which, so far, no one's in it.
Yeah, well, yeah, because we started so late. They're probably probably don't even know we're.
Like, you're 5 minutes late. Where are you? Hey, Light, Star Dancer's in here.
Yay! All right. So how was your week?
It was interesting, but things have calmed down at least.
Oh, that's good.
And I'm trying to figure out what my boss is going to be doing with work and everything. And I'm just sitting back going, okay, let me know when you have the sign-up sheet to make me have to deal with boom lifts. Then I'll deal with it.
And how's everything going with your rabbits?
Let's just say one is being a brat and the other one is just content with life.
Okay.
Same with the cat. Oh, yeah, and we will hopefully be getting a puppy in the next 3 months.
Yay.
It hasn't been born yet.
Oh, okay.
But we're getting it for free.
Oh, nice. Oh, so somebody's dog is pregnant?
Yep.
Somebody's pregnant?
A sweet lady I met at the vet, actually. And like more people showed up. Her dog got pregnant by accident, and they normally do purebred cells with their animals because she's a hunting dog.
How did she
she was in heat, and her boyfriend didn't know about that and left his male corgi collie in the same room as her.
Her boyfriend?
The woman's boyfriend's dog.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, the boyfriend got the dog. No, the boyfriend's dog got the other one pregnant. So I'm gonna get a German Pointer Corgi Collie mix.
Oh, okay.
So it's gonna be a short floofball.
Yeah, no. The first way you described it, you go, and so the dog was in heat and was left alone in the room, and her boyfriend, and so I missed the part about you were referring to her as in your friend who owned the dog. So I interpreted it as the dog's boyfriend. So it's like, okay, the dog has a boyfriend that didn't know about. Okay.
Yeah, apparently dogs are sluts.
Damn biological urges.
But we're hoping to have everything set up so we can have a puppy. So
nice.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. So I guess I should give an update. Dorian, I haven't heard anything from Dorian that he cannot join us. We were confused about whether or not we were going to have game night tonight. So Dorian might be joining us later on, and he might not. I haven't heard from him. He might be having computer issues. So let me check. Have you seen anything on Twitter from him?
Last thing I saw was 7 hours ago. Let me actually go through my home settings. I don't have it on my phone anymore because my phone is stupid.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. The last one I heard from him was 7 hours ago too.
And he hasn't tweeted anything in the last 3 hours that I can see.
Yeah. So we might be Dorian free tonight.
Aw, poor Dorian.
Yeah. If not, maybe he'll, because he has the link, so he can join in anytime he wants. So who do we have in the chat?
Well, who I notice we have in the chat so far, we have Star Dancer, 58. We have Witchy Jim, Kawaii's Witch, Travis, and Mode's back. Yay, Mode.
Hey, Mode.
And that's about it.
Hey, well, good. So we got our good old faithful viewers. Good old Witchy Jim, Travis, Star Dancer, Moat, Kawaii's Witch. Awesome.
Our usual suspects.
Usual suspects. So yeah. So I've been busy working on a freaking video, and I'm hoping to put it out this Monday. Well, actually, tomorrow I'm gonna finish it up and upload it tonight, and it's gonna go. My patrons are gonna be able to view it starting tonight, and then Wednesday it's gonna be released on YouTube, and it's another batshit crazy zone.
Ooh.
Yes.
I love those.
Yeah.
But I'm too broke to be a patron.
That's okay. All right. You don't have to be. But it's the video I'm doing is on the protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is
oh man.
Have you heard about that?
I've heard stories about them, and oh god.
Yeah. So it's on that, and this is like one of the oldest conspiracy theories that led to the Freemasonic, or the belief that the Freemasons are behind trying to rule the world. It's really fascinating, it's just, you think conspiracy theories are like kind of like a modern invention, but they're not. They've been around probably for as long as human beings and have been able to communicate with each other.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But the elders, this conspiracy theory, which basically, I'm just going to sum it up for you, is that they believe that the Jews are trying to take over the world.
Well, aren't they? I mean, maybe that one crazy jerk. No. I can't even say that sentence with a straight face. I can't. No, I can't.
Yeah. But it's such a destructive one too, because I mean, Adolf Hitler used it, the Nazis used it as, part justification of trying to kick the Jews out of Germany, and then obviously leading to the genocide of Jewish people and anybody else that they felt was a quote unquote troublemaker. And it's led to a lot of anti-Semitism, and it's still around today. There's still a lot of people who believe that it's true. So,
and it's kind of sad because I don't think one group of people, just because of their belief or how they were born, should be blamed for something or accused of something. Yeah. And that goes for any race or religion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I think it stems from anytime you have a group of people who have a common interest and they're maybe semi-exclusive, meaning that they don't really include, or I don't know the best way to describe this, but I think that any group that kind of has some kind of a commonality, like let's say Jews, Freemasons, or whoever, for some reason people begin to just assume that these people are, conspiring and talking amongst themselves and plotting, you know what I mean? So it's really bizarre, but it does happen. And
yeah.
I don't know exactly why, but I mean, it's especially the Freemasons get it a lot because they're essentially a secret society, even though they're very public. But their initiations and their rites and the things that they discuss are private. You can't just walk into a meeting, and so people go, well, why are they so secret? What's going on? What are they doing? Are they plotting to take over the world? Or so it's just like it just continues on. So anyhow,
I'm looking forward to seeing it though, and I will hopefully have my stuff back on track next week because yeah, last 2 weeks have sucked when it comes to actually getting stuff done for me.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Hopefully next week I'll have my stuff back on track.
Oh, yeah. That's okay. Just yeah, no worries. Just when you get it done, just let us know. Let me see. So this is interesting. I just got a tweet from that guy, the Junkies, the names.
Yeah.
Junkie. And this is some message that he got from somebody. And it says, "You have crossed the line. Dear ma'am, you know what? You don't deserve to have a formal title. Dear abomination, why are you making this more difficult than it has to be? I am not about to get my information stolen, all because you want..." What? I thought this was about our... I don't know. This is weird. Okay.
It might be somebody thinking that we're putting their information out.
No. It's not about us. It's about that the abominable Jurassic Park video that I did with the on Christian Mario.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so it sounds like some religious person who's upset with him about it. And they quote, "So shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. It is appointed unto man once to die, but after this, the judgment." Dun, dun, dun. Hebrews 9:27. It's so funny that Christians believe that by quoting a Bible verse to someone who doesn't believe in the Bible is somehow relevant.
I know. It's hilarious.
Yeah. It's like you or I going up to a Christian talking about our belief and our path and telling them they have to adjust their behavior accordingly. It's like, well, you have to, and it harm none, do as you will, and you're harming people. It's like, they'd be like, I don't follow that. It wouldn't make any sense to them. They don't believe it.
I mean, I was watching a video about cursed items or whatnot, and somebody had brought up a spell book that was sold by a witch who used to be friends with Aleister Crowley, who they were calling her a Wiccan. And they're like, her family Wiccan line goes back and all these things. And I'm like, okay, well, this guy has his information wrong. And so I wasn't the only one that pointed that out. There was a few other pagans, Wiccans, and witches on there that pointed that out to him in his comments. And one person pretty much said, "I'm a Wicca high priestess, and this is what we actually believe in all this stuff." I'm like, well, you got to remember, not all Wiccans or witches or pagans go by the threefold law. And she's like, "Oh no, I perfectly understand that." She's like, "I know this is an old comment and it's been on here for a while." And we were just going back and forth, and somebody chimed in with a Bible verse saying how the Bible condones what we're doing and how we're going to burn and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, your Bible also condones cutting your hair, eating seafood, you talking because you're a woman, you existing because you're a woman. I just went into all the things that they quote unquote condones. She's like, well, we don't follow those things. I'm like, then you shouldn't be, then you can't use those same scriptures you say you don't follow to condone gay people.
Right, exactly.
She's like, well, that's different. I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah. It's like saying I'm only picking one or two things to go by, and I'm ignoring all the rest for my convenience. Like, this is why your book is nothing but a little book written by a bunch of bigots, and at the same time probably translated and changed so many times it has lost its actual meaning. And she's like, you have no proof that. I'm like, yeah, show me the original copy of the Bible that the Vatican holds, and then I'll shut up. Yeah. And she hasn't replied since. I mean, honestly, to me, it's a book of outdated morals.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. Yes, exactly. And it's really funny how they pick and choose which Bible verses they will, follow and then which ones they don't follow, and it gets really it really gets subjective. Period. So and I'm not a big huge historian or really know that much about him. I mean, I know something about him, but I don't, I'm not an expert on him. But he left a lot of diary entries. I mean, there's diary entries. He kept a lot of diary entries. He wrote a lot of books. He spoke with a lot of people. Actually, he didn't speak to that many people, but his viewpoints and his practice and his style of magic is very, very well known. And there's a lot of documentation. Nowhere in any of the documentation that I've come across, and maybe people can correct me if I'm wrong, has he mentioned anything about practicing with witches or being involved with witches or anything like that. That's not what he was focused on. He was very much focused on his magical practice, him developing his own magical style and everything like that. I think the confusion comes in because Gerald Gardner used a lot of Aleister Crowley's material to kind of fill out the Book of Shadows that he claimed that he had gotten from the New Forest Coven. And so because of that, a lot of people assume that Aleister Crowley was involved in the early development of Gardnerian witchcraft, which I think that's giving him too much involvement in it. I mean, he wrote books, and then Gerald Gardner used a lot of that material in his books. And also, Aleister Crowley and Gerald Gardner met in May of, I think it was 1934 or 1937. It was the year that Aleister Crowley had died, and so they had met for 3 times before Aleister Crowley had died. And during those meetings, Aleister Crowley gave Gerald Gardner a charter to start an OTO chapter in England, and also because he made his rank higher than, or not higher than, but made his rank the same height as the rank that he had made, that Gerald Gardner had achieved in co-masonry. He just gave him that title so that he could be the leader, quote unquote, leader of the OTO in England, which is, there was already somebody who was sort of in line of succession for that. And so that created a whole bunch of turmoil. But Gerald Gardner did absolutely nothing with that. He tried to use it to get other books and information that was in the OTO, but that's it. So the connection with Aleister Crowley having any involvement in Wicca is really there's not enough substantial evidence for it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, so it's like, well, it's a cursed grimorum and da-da-da-da. It should have been burned. I'm like, no, we believe in passing down our magic to other people that are in our same belief or in our family that is in the same. Mm-hmm. We don't necessarily ever believe in burning anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, stop and think about it. Witches, we don't like burning things unless it's incense or candles.
Yeah, and I mean the whole concept of a grimoire or a Book of Shadows, I think is a very modern adaptation. When I was first initiated in a group in San Francisco in the late 80s, we were actually told to memorize the stuff that we got. So when I received the Coven's Book of Shadows that I then hand copied into a folder, into a notebook that I later transferred into what became my Book of Shadows. It was a very small portion. It wasn't a whole lot of information. There was no correspondence. There's no correspondence. It was just very basic ritual and, closing and Sabbats and stuff like that. But that's it. It was very short, very small. And I was actually encouraged, and I had to memorize it all. And that was the whole point. You were supposed to memorize it. And that was it. And then obviously, I guess it just sort of caught on, and everybody started really, talking about having a grimoire, Book of Shadows, and all that fun stuff. But
I just like writing my information down, so if I forget it, I have it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I agree. It's very difficult for me, at least, to memorize every single little thing that I have to. You know what I mean? I have to, correspondence. I can do it off the top of my head for some things, but for other things that I'm sort of unfamiliar with, I would probably have to reference, written down correspondence. And, but the basic mechanics, at least this is my opinion, the basic mechanics of magic is universal. So it really doesn't matter how you dress it up or what you do to it. It's the basic mechanics is there, and everything else is just kind of enhances that particular mechanic that you're working with. But anyhow, whoa, we got off on a tangent here.
Which is fine. I think we haven't had just a show where we just talked about stuff like this before.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly enough. Normally we're watching videos and correcting them and saying, no, this is how it is, or this is what it was, or stuff like that.
Yeah, really, usually we're watching videos and trying to correct that information. Yeah, I agree.
And sometimes it's good to put out our own information on stuff of what's going on and and figuring out things, because I still haven't heard anything back from Dorian. Let me go check Twitter again.
Yeah. Aleister Crowley was an interesting figure. He was very intelligent. He was definitely magically inclined. He was a very powerful magician. But there's other aspects. He was kind of a cad, kind of an ass, a bit of a troll. There's a lot of aspects of his personality that I don't think I would have clicked with, like if I ever met him in person. But that doesn't distract from the fact that he was very knowledgeable in magic and had a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge.
Yeah. I probably personally wouldn't have gotten along with him in the living day, but I probably would have wanted to do my best to understand some of the stuff that he had or was talking about, or because information sometimes you have to look past the disdain and dislike of someone just to get it. I've discovered that, and sometimes I wonder myself when I read things, I'm like, and I really hate this person, so why am I listening to them? And I've dealt with that in covens before, where I'm like, I'm only here because I was drug here, and it makes somebody happy that I'm with here. So yeah.
How did you get drug into a coven?
I was asked to go with a friend of mine, and at the time Soren was half involved with these guys too, to a coven down here, and this was the same coven leader who says you can't meditate for more than 20 minutes or you're pretty much sleeping. Or that you have to do things by this way, or you have to do things by that way. You have to believe in a certain way. And I'm just not about following somebody else's orders or path.
But so it was an open circle, or it was a closed?
It was a open if you were invited, and I was invited by two other people that were initiates in it, and the leader, quote unquote, liked me and thought I was a great person, and I'm like, okay, that's nice to know that I give off that I'm a good kind of person. But I I had to bite my tongue a lot when I was there because there were so many things I wanted to say that I didn't say.
So okay. So was it like like a meeting, or were you guys actually like, you know, maybe practicing and doing rituals?
It was a meeting that would go into the practice and rituals and lessons that she would have other people do and give out.
I see. I see. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean I don't like jumping into a group that quickly. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, I kind of look at it like let's say like a relationship that you're wanting to develop with somebody. You're not just wanting to bang them and, you know, that's it. You're actually wanting to get to know them, find out who they are, and actually develop a relationship with them. That's how I view a coven. And I kind of see like actually getting together with them and performing a ritual sort of like, you know, quote unquote, the act, you know. So you don't want to jump into that right away. You want to take your time, kind of get to know them and find out if they're right fit. And, you know, you want to spend some time with that. And that's where you can find out all the stuff like, wow, okay, this person's really authoritarian, or this person has some kind of crazy new agey ideas that I don't exactly agree with, or maybe, hey, this person's got some insight and some experience, and hey, maybe I could learn something from somebody. So, I mean, I'm very, very cautious about any group that's just sort of ready to kind of jump right into the deep end. It's kind of like, whoa, let's slow down and, you know, kind of sit down for a bit and sort of get to know each other, maybe for a year and a day, you know.
Yeah, the only group that I really ever clicked with, like I said, was the one that I was in California. It was because, yeah, most of went around just the moon goddess, but at the same time, they loved having people in the group that used other gods and goddesses in their own personal work.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that everybody had to use this one goddess all the time in their work. It's just that we only did that when we were in big circles together.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else had their own views. I mean, they were great people. They were very open. They were very loving. We loved doing huge cookouts with each other. We loved just sitting around talking and sharing ideas and going over things. Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, that felt like a more cohesive working coven than what I was exposed to with a few other ones that I've seen or have heard of. It was very nice. They were very open and willing to let people come, see what we do, talk with them, stuff like that. They were very generous and kind. They never really turned anyone away.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had good experiences and I've had bad experiences, but that's just how life is you take the good with the bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I kind of feel sorry for, well, not really feel sorry, but I can sympathize with people when they tell us or tell me a horrible first experience with a coven, because if you have a horrible first experience with a coven, chances are you're probably not going to bother trying to join another one, you know. And also I don't think covens are for everyone. I think a lot of, especially on YouTube, I think a lot of the pagans that I've talked with and encountered, they're happy just doing their own thing. They don't really want to join a group and, you know, do all that stuff. They're comfortable doing what they want to do. And, you know, and I think that's at the heart of what witchcraft is. It's doing your own thing, practicing and believing and, you know, maybe worshiping whatever gods and goddesses that appeal to you, you know. And it's really easy to maybe do a ritual or a spell or something and you have absolute 100% control over it. Nobody's trying to, you know, throw something else in there or trying to tell you how to do it and how not to do it. You have your control over it. The one thing that I miss about coven work is celebrating the Sabbats and the Esbats, and also training. I think that's really important. Like the last coven I was in, we we practiced a lot of SBATs and SABATs, but we didn't do very much sit-down trainings, which I think is unfortunate. The very first coven that I joined in the late 80s was nothing but training. So you got, yeah, we celebrated the Sabbats and the SBATs and we did spell work because it was part of it. But most of it was just training, and I think that was really, I think that was a really good coven to get into on my first way around.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, my first coven was the open kind, helping people, learning stuff from each other. And my second experience was no, you got to do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I figured I was probably either better off with more of an open coven or on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I do encourage people to look for good covens. I do encourage people to learn from others.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's always a great thing. Other people's minds are always a great source to tap. And it sometimes you find good ones and sometimes you find bad ones. You just have to be very cautious and keep in mind not everyone has the best interest for yourself. So it can be a very tricky road, like you said. You can find the ones that are just about rituals, or you can find the ones that are about training, or you can find a good mix of both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I think that, I mean, like I said earlier, I think that coven work is good for some people, but I think that's a small minority. I think the majority of people are just sort of doing their own thing, not really interested in joining a coven. So, I mean, it's nice. I mean, I miss the camaraderie. I miss, having a group that we have commonality in, and definitely celebrating the Sabbats the way that I'm accustomed to. Like, for example, you might go to a group and they do, let's say, a Samhain ritual that is very different. Maybe it's focused on a certain culture, or maybe they have an interpretation of emphasizing a certain aspect of the holiday. That is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not a Gardnerian or a British traditional path of celebrating it. And that's kind of what I miss, like sometimes I've gone and to what's it called? They do the spiral dance here in San Francisco every Samhain. What is their name? Anyway, but anyhow, so they have open circles so people can go and join, but they have their own way of celebrating things. And so to me, it just doesn't have that. I don't have that same connection with it, even though maybe it might be nice to sort of hang out with other pagans and like-minded people and celebrate a Sabbath. It's just not the way that I'm familiar with it. And that I miss,
Yeah. I mean, I do miss doing the celebrations with other people and that kind of thing, and the community of it. It's just I haven't found the right one up here in Washington yet. And hopefully that will change eventually, but for now, it is what it is, and I do what I can.
Now, how do you go about finding other groups? Is it just people that you know, or do you go like to a bookstore, or do you go to Witchbox?
Well, the first group I found, I actually decided because I wanted to learn more about witchcraft, Wicca, paganism, all that kind of stuff. After I read my first couple books, is I actually signed up for a Let's Meet account. And I found them there, contacted one of them, and we started going back and forth in emails, and we talked on the phone, and then she had me come to the group. And that's how I met the first one. The one here I met through a friend. And it ended up, even the friend ended up saying that, no, I'm just done with this and leaving as well. So a lot of people ended up walking away from all that.
Oh, okay. So the groups that you find, it sounds like you go through friends to find them, huh?
Through friends and through the internet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was looking before. I'm wondering, did I? Oh, yeah. You know what? I think I did. I think the group that I was recently in, I actually found them through Witchvox, I believe, and I contacted them through that, and they had just been starting up a Wicca 101 class, and so I hopped into it. I think I hopped into the second one, so I missed only one class, and that was just a stroke of luck. Yeah, but before that, I mean, I had contacted a couple of people, and one of the nice things about it is you can contact them maybe through an email or something, and have a couple of backs and forth, and you can kind of get a sense of people and what they're about just through the email, which is kind of nice too. So you might see something in that email, or maybe get like a feeling in the back of your mind, like, I don't think this is going to be a group that's going to work out for me, and then you can kind of judge it from that point. But sometimes it's nice just to go to one just without the intention of actually joining, and maybe just sort of, if it's a class setup, so it's like an open group, so you go in and you talk with people, and so you're approaching it without the intention of actually joining. You're actually approaching it with the intention of just sort of making friends and getting to know people. And I think that also takes a certain element of anticipation, and what's the other word I'm looking for? It kind of just softens the edges, so you don't feel like, oh yes, I have to join this group, or I don't have to join the group. You can sort of just be there, and see what it's like, which is nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that would just be like a group of people sitting around talking. It wouldn't be like actually doing rituals and stuff.
Yeah.
But well, I don't know what's going on with Dorian. Haven't heard from him, and so So I'm trying to remember. Let me see. What was the last? Did we finish up the last video that we watched?
I think so. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't remember seeing a particular time involved, and my internet is being really slow right now. Let me see. Yeah, so it looks like, the last message we had was when we were going to start, so there wasn't anything about a video. So we probably have to watch one. But let me see. How about the chat? What experience have other people had with covens, or not had with covens? That'd be interesting.
It sounds like they're talking about. It looks like see how cover. Oh, I'm scrolling back.
Okay.
A little bit on it. I really wish our chat had timestamps, but unfortunately, it doesn't.
You can put that in there.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, if you those three little dots in the upper right-hand corner, if you click that, a list of things pop down. One of them is toggle timestamps, I think.
Yeah, I just added that on.
And also another thing, they have, if you notice in the very top of the chat, there's a top chat. If you click it, there's live chat and there's top chat. Live chat includes everything. Top chat edits it. and it only puts certain ones in there. Although I haven't, I mean, it's just, although I haven't really seen how it edited it, you know, it's supposed to be sort of like a filter, but so you might want to turn.
Oh yeah, no, mine's set on top chat to begin with.
Yeah. So it automatically defaults to that, but live chat is the entire chat.
Okay.
Though I don't notice any difference.
No, because I think the difference is that in our top chat, we have certain people blocked from being able to be in the top chat, and we have certain people who are in the live chat. It's weird.
What? Say that again?
Sometimes the top chat, because it blocks certain people that they see as spam.
Oh,
if somebody is spamming stuff.
Oh, okay. So it blocks the spam.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They started talking about D&D. And then the notebook for the Grimorums. I love the snow.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was not. Wonder no Dorian's here. The fun stuff happens. Yes, the fun stuff happens with no Dorian. Not really. We just figure out what we're trying to do with no Dorian.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're lost without our Canadian.
Yes.
Oh.
Make fun of.
That is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand where some people are uncomfortable also in the gathering of a circle in a coven too, because some people don't like working with others or don't know what to expect. And I mean, the first coven I was in was family friendly, so you would have people with their younger kids there, but you would also have kids from the age 10 and up that would actually participate, that were very respectful to what was going on. So,
yeah. Well, I think that particular aspect of not including kids in rituals, it came out of the 80s satanic panic. And so they did not want to have, they just didn't want to do it because they didn't want somehow it coming back and biting them, you know? And so I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of groups don't have children involved in their celebrations, simply for that reason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for them, a lot of people in that area were families. There was, like I said, there was a lot of little kids, and one of the youngest kids was always happy because until a new baby was born, he got to play Baby New Year. So he was always happy about that, but he was also like 4 years old. So he basically got to run around the circle with his cute little Cupid outfit on and a sash, and he was just a happy child. So, I mean, I understand where some people are shy about it and won't do it because of that, because of what happened with the 80s and everything. But it was kind of nice being around a family-oriented, family setting kind of group. Yeah, we did have times where it was just adult stuff and we had the kids were all off in a certain area playing instead. So we did have those as well. We didn't always have them participating in everything. It was just some of the bigger celebrations or Sabbaths that you would have a little bit more of a gathering and stuff like that, like around the maypole or celebrating the coming of the new year and stuff like that. They were more involved in than they were our monthly things. So it would kind of be awesome if everybody in the chat and us could run our own, but we all have other paths that we follow. So it might be a little difficult with that to all of us to be in a coven. So I said I'd be in a coven with all you all. Found a coven on Craigslist of all places. Travis found his coven on Craigslist.
Oh, okay.
Well, at least you were able to find a good experience with Craigslist, I guess. Found my original coven on BBS. I don't know what that is.
It was some type of a bulletin board, I think.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, if people have questions or they want to share their experience that they've had, it'd be interesting to hear. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I should try to work on an implementation to get a coven group going again on my website. But it was sort of like a very loose sort of. It was just like a training group that people could join, but I just don't. I don't really have. I really would have to work on training that one could do over the internet rather than in person. So that I would have to work.
I'm sorry about that. Surprise sneeze. Surprise sneeze. But I understand where you're coming from on that one. Doing a training over the internet. I don't know how well has that actually worked for you in the past before, though, because I've never seen one that done over the internet like that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't know how it would be because I've never really done it. Yeah. I mean, you'd probably you'd have to meet either through like Skype or Google Hangout or something. I mean, you can still talk to people and you can do trainings. You're just not in person talking to somebody. I don't think it would be as good as a training group that would be face to face, but I'm sure it would be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, doing training over Skype doesn't seem like too much of a problem. I mean, I've done training for Komoricon over Skype, but we also had a computer program we could use together too.
Training for what?
Stuff for a convention.
Oh, convention. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've done small training things like that on Skype. I just never done anything with magical training over Skype. And I would hate to see something like that turn into like that guy that charges $200 to take a demon from you via Skype.
Yeah. Well.
By the way, those videos always make me giggle.
Wouldn't that be an exorcism?
Yeah.
Not a training. Yeah. Well, that's
the point.
Thing is money. That's the important thing. Because there's 2 points of view that first of all, I don't think you should charge for trainings. And that's the biggest hurdle I have. The second one is if you don't have some sort of a requirement for people to join, then you don't have people who join who are serious. You have people who just kind of join, they're not really interested in it. And I think that charging people money actually makes the student interested and involved because they have an investment in it. If you don't have an investment in it, then you don't really care. You'll show up whenever you want. You'll maybe do that and maybe you won't do that. So I think there's drawbacks, but definitely that's the biggest hurdle is charging for trainings, which you shouldn't do if you are training in a Wiccan or a British traditional path, because it's just you're not supposed to do that. I'm going to be right back. Okay, hold on.
Oh, no problem. Let's see. So what is going on in the chat? Uh, and where you're coming from with Jim about no kids being allowed in the group, and I understand both the argument for and against, and yes, my bunny is being loud and obnoxious. I mean, being a welcome to the Sabbaths and stuff like that is one thing, but when it comes to certain rituals, yeah, kids are better off not. Oh.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thanks. So what were you just talking about?
I was reading some of the things from the chat, Travis's thing, and then Richie Jim's no kids allowed in mind. And yes, my bunny is being loud.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that I don't think you should have kids under the age of 18 involved in some groups. But that doesn't mean that the kids on their own couldn't do some sort of little group if they wanted to. But I think it should be them. Maybe they should be given a little bit of guidance and a little bit of structure, and then let them do it. Adults aren't involved. They can do their own little thing.
Yeah. And I think that's mostly what we did when we were doing certain rituals, that we were like, no, we don't want the kids involved in this, and it's better if they're not. And some of the older kids that were over the age of 10 and something, that 10 and up, that had grown up with this in their lives, their entire life, would lead the younger kids in different things of explaining or talking, or basically little lessons. Kind of like a Wiccan Sunday school, yes. And the little kids loved it because they got to do fun little arts and crafts with them, and we'd make sure they were all set up and ready to go if we were doing something big like a blood moon ritual or something like that. I mean, but like I said, certain Sabbaths and stuff like that, like May Day and things, we would definitely, it was more around the family than it was just the individual kind of things. It was fun. I would admit I love the maple. And it's kind of adorable to see kids running around happily playing on the on those types of things. But when we did get down and serious with certain things, it was mostly all the adults, and the kids were doing their own little thing. It was a good coven to be around, and it's kind of what I miss. But I know sometimes you can find those things quickly, and sometimes you can't. And I looked out in California. And as far as I know, they still have that group going, because I still get emails from them, and I still talk to them via email, seeing how they're doing, how everyone else is doing, and they still check up on me. And they're happy that I'm in Washington, but they miss me down there. But still, there's no way in hell I'm ever moving back to California. No.
Yeah. Oh, good. And where in California was the group?
This was in Murrieta, Temecula area. So.
Okay.
And we actually stayed at it was mostly at one person's house, because they lived in but out of town, kind of in between area, to where they had a nice house that had a farmhouse on it as well, and they kept chickens, but they had a huge yard with trees and all that kind of stuff. It was nice.
Interesting. All right. Well, Dorian is still a no-show, so I guess we'll just go ahead and get into. So there was one video called "Attributes of Demons" 2017 documentary. Does that sound familiar to you, Loki?
No, it does not. That might be a new one. Well, obviously 2017.
All right, let me get it set up here. We can watch this. So see, let me get this all set up here. So you're hearing me fine, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Do you see it on the screen?
I do.
Ah, okay, good.
The attributes of demons, which are many.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. Sounded as good.
Yay, okay.
I personally have had firsthand contact, witness of demonic entities back in the year 2010 and 2011, and sporadically after that. And the information I obtained from the firsthand
that book on his bookshelf, Mastering Witchcraft by Paul Husson. That's a good book if people are interested.
Yeah. Oh, you need to hit present to everyone, because if I talk, it goes straight to my icon.
Thanks.
Yet to be able to find all of it in books or anywhere. So I piece it together. I have to reverse engineer some of it. I have to see if I can find
that skull looks very plastic.
That it does.
Of it. But I decided to put this documentary together to really explain some of the more subtle attributes that demonic entities possess. This video is for educational purposes, so if you're entertained, that's great, but that was not the goal. The goal is to educate these invisible entities exist and the dimension they live in exists. So hopefully scientifically one day we will be able to prove that demons live in a dimension above us. But until then, we have to rely on these first-hand encounters. They're crafty. These are extremely intelligent entities. They're very organized, and they're not going to show up at a laboratory and reveal themselves.
So it's really interesting the way that he presents that. He says that, yeah, there's no way that, science hasn't proven that demons exist, and so we have to go by first-hand accounts. So he's already assuming that they're real. He's not like presenting it in a fact like this is what people think, or this is how people feel about it, or this is their opinion about it. He's like, oh no, it's true. You just haven't been able to prove it.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, they're only true because I said it's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much what's being said.
Yeah.
They've been hiding themselves for thousands of years. Like a vampire, they don't die. So they have a memory that goes back thousands of years, perhaps millions of years, for all I know.
Yeah, but what is he using to determine this? Right?
All I could do is deduce from what I've witnessed, but I did witness 6 months straight of demonic poltergeist activity in the year 2011. I will continue.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, really. I'd love to hear what he experienced.
This subject until the day I die. I thank you for watching. This has been John Rasmus.
Have you ever been in a cafe or maybe even at your kitchen table where if it's like a smooth table and maybe it's a hot day out and you have ice cubes in your drink or something and it'll collect moisture on the outside, and it'll do this weird thing where the glass will begin to move across the table?
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks weird until you understand exactly what's causing that. So people could say, oh, wow, ooh, that's spooky. Somebody's moving that glass. And it's like, no, it's condensation of water on the outside of the glass, and it gets down there and it creates a small pocket, and it moves the glass across the table. So it's really interesting what people interpret as quote unquote demonic activity and what is not demonic activity.
Yeah. I mean, there is seeing that going on when you're watching it just move across the table flat, and then there's watching it roll up on its edge, roll around the table, and then just sit back down flat. There's two separate things. I mean, I've experienced that. I've seen the cup move when it gets all condensated, like you said, but I've also watched my soda can tip up on the side, roll, and then sit in another area, and I'm just like, yep, nope, done. but I'm still trying to debunk that one, trying to figure out how that happened. Because honestly, I don't think people need to jump straight to a demon did it or a ghost did it or this is something supernatural. I think people need to look into every single angle before jumping to a conclusion.
Fuck you. Do what I want.
Wow.
I know, Soren, you do what you want.
Okay, moving on.
They are as natural as the air we breathe, and so you don't need to be scared by them necessarily. I believe knowledge is power. Knowing this tiny piece of information, I hope it can benefit someone, even if only on a microscopic level. These entities, which are far more intelligent than us, which I believe are in a higher dimension, I use the fifth dimension as the default because I don't know what exact dimension they're from, but I make the assumption possibly the fifth. They look down upon us and they see us as a subspecies, not worthy of direct communication, except in extremely rare circumstances.
So what would be the fifth dimension? So we have the first dimension, second dimension, third dimension, fourth dimension. What would be the... So the first dimension, I guess, would be what?
Us, I think.
Okay, second dimension?
I think that's supposed to be like the afterlife. I don't know. I've never understood the dimension things.
Because I think one is, it's like our time, I guess, would be the first dimension. Second dimension, I guess, would be, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what he means by the fifth dimension.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Unprovable circumstances, which is really convenient for them. But when you're a 50 million-year-old entity residing in a higher dimension, not only do you know every trick in the book, but you witnessed the invention of the book, the invention of the alphabet, let alone the invention of fire and the wheel. To those that don't believe demons exist and think it's a joke, it is pearls before swine. That's how valuable, or at least rare and extremely secret, this information is. I'm making this video because
It's extremely secret. That's why he's making a video on it on YouTube.
as rare and secret and obscure and unknown as it is, I just want to start sharing. I firmly believe knowledge is power, and as an anti-occultist, I do not believe in hoarding knowledge. This is what the so-called elite have been doing for thousands of years, and I am most definitely against them.
Wow, I really like that image of the Earth.
Yeah,
And it's
it is
really
a good one. It is pretty. It is pretty.
And it's really high up. I mean, I'm trying to figure out if is that an airplane that the image is being taken from, or is it being taken from a satellite? I mean, it's pretty high up in the atmosphere.
It looks like it's coming from Google Earth, so it might be from a satellite or a zoom lens at the space station.
Yeah, I don't think it's an airplane because it looks like, because you can see the edge of the Earth, so that's pretty high up. But hey, look, the Earth is not flat.
Woohoo! Debunked!
We did it. Debunked. Heathen Haven.
Occultist, I do not believe in hoarding knowledge. This is what the...
Why do they think occultists are about like keeping people dumb and hiding stuff from them? Just because it's considered to be a cult?
I think so, because I think occults have to be nothing but secrets and hiding the truth and all that, even though, as far as I know, if anyone asks me what my secrets are, I'm just going to go, okay, I don't use now, I don't believe it's not butter. That's my secret.
So-called elite have been doing for thousands of years, and I am most definitely against them. Demons have the ability to see through you, see through anything. Demons have X-ray vision.
Okay, can you give us an example?
See this bat flying around? Demons sort of see like that, except they see in color.
How do you know that?
And they see all layers of the third dimension.
Okay, so he's giving this information, he's telling us this, he's educating us on this information, and it's pretty outrageous, you know? So
yeah.
What is he using to back this up? What is he basing this on?
I kind of want to know who's giving him his information to give to us, because that is a real conspiracy right there.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you're going to try to explain something to somebody and you know, I mean, if you're trying to educate people on something, you just got to assume that they know absolutely nothing about the particular subject that you're talking about. And you have to use, you know, common language and use examples or analogies or something to try to explain it so the other person can understand it. And he's just kind of like starting right off the bat, like, okay, yeah, demons exist. Oh, and by the way, they see color and all of this. And he's just like building on to that. And it's like, well, hold on a second. How do you know this?
That is pretty much what's going through my mind. I'm trying to figure out, how do you know this? Are you a demon yourself, sir? I knew it.
You may not have seen this movie. It didn't do too well in the box office. Tomorrowland. Disney's Tomorrowland, but I did see this movie in the movie theater, and I enjoyed it. I'm a huge fan of Disneyland and Disney and Tomorrowland specifically, and so I enjoyed the little Tomorrowland features here and there. But more specifically, one scene really stuck out to me as being...
Why do they always reference movies to prove their theory?
I don't know. I think because they think the movies are telling us the truth, underlining with fantasy. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like me talking about Godzilla and then using a Godzilla movie as an example.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite work.
Odd, because it reminded me of demons having the ability, having X-ray vision. And here is the scene.
Give me the Edison tube and we'll go without you.
I don't have the Edison tube.
It's in your bag. I have X-ray vision.
Where'd you get X-ray vision?
Oh, she's full of surprises.
Now, here is just an example of X-ray. It has nothing to do with the movie Total Recall. I'm just showing an example of how demons can see you. They can see your skeleton. They can see if you're hiding an object, such as a gun. It doesn't matter. But they see a little bit more detail. They see kind of like the Predator sees. They can see heat. They can see even more detail than the Predator.
So thermal vision.
Apparently.
They can see beyond your skin, through your skin. They can see your skeleton structure. They can see your veins. They can see your arteries. They can see your heart. They can see your gallbladder. They can see every bit.
They can see our gallbladder?
Oh, no. All I can say is that they're probably looking at us like, oh, my God, what am I staring at? Oh, God, make it stop. That's all I can think, because that's way too much detail in a person to see.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see my gallbladder. I'm going to have to dress it up a little bit.
Make it shiny?
Yeah, exactly.
Of your intestines. They can see what's inside of your intestines. They can see what you ate yesterday. As far as the Predator, he only sees concerning his technology.
Wouldn't they have to have some limit to that vision? I mean, like, if they're able to see, so if you can see through somebody's skin in order to be able to see their internal organs and what's inside their organs, what would prevent them from just like looking through you completely? I mean, the light it would have something to refract against.
It would, because honestly, all this, just thinking about how he's saying that they see is hurting my head, because to see like that may be a little bit too much for anyone's sensory, even if it's a quote-unquote demon. I really think this guy is smoking something that he's not sharing with the class.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like we look at it like a book. So, okay, so you have the cover and then you have the pages of the book. So if you can see through the cover of the book and you can see into the pages, and then you can also see what's behind the pages, then you're not going to be able to see anything, because what you're doing is you're turning everything transparent, everything you can see through. So there would have to be some wall, there would have to be some limit that the light can enter that you can perceive. So I don't understand how it, I mean, it sounds really science fiction-y, but I'm not seeing any proof for it. I'm not seeing, it doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't, and the only thing that I can think of, like you said, you can look at one layer and go through that layer, and then if you want to, again, push through to the next layer. That's the only way I can see this actually working without giving somebody a headache or just seeing them as a transparency. Is being able to control how deep of the layer they can look through.
Yeah, but how would they do that?
That is a good question. I have no clue.
Don't use technology. Demons are fifth dimensional beings. They reside in the fifth dimension.
Okay, so we don't know what the fifth dimension is. He hasn't, I mean, none of this is rooted in any sort of, it's not rooted in any way of describing what he's trying to portray.
No, but I'm going to look up to figure out what these dimensions are, because why the hell not?
Yeah, exactly. Because I think one of them is a dimension of time, and then there's other ones, and then you get to a third dimension. Or no, okay, here it is. So the first dimension is like, you know, up and down, across, you know, that sort of thing. Then you have a second dimension, which is sort of depth. I'm talking about, I'm using art as an example of it. So you have a second dimension, which is sort of like, you know, you see shadow and you see depth. And then you have a third dimension, which is, so it then takes the object out of the background, and you can sort of move around and look at it. And then I thought the fourth dimension was then time. So you can then move back in time, or you can move forward in time. And then the fifth dimension, I don't know what that would be. So, but thank you for looking that up.
They look down upon.
I found it.
Oh, good.
The fifth dimensional is also known as space.
Oh, okay. And so what are the first four?
Let's see. Actually, you were right about the other four that you had already. Yeah, here it is. One or more of usually the three-dimensional things. The fourth dimension is of time and used in relative physics. So everything that you had said was pretty much correct, but the fifth dimensional is just space.
Okay, so
is all I'm finding for the fifth dimension.
Okay, so the fifth dimension is space. Okay, so we have direction, depth. I guess I don't know what you would call the third. And then you have time, and then you have space. Okay, so they're space aliens.
Apparently,
they're intergalactic space aliens.
And they're also a very interesting musical group.
Yeah, right, exactly, the fifth dimension.
Or live in the third dimension, which is why they can see through us.
So,
died in the fifth dimension. They look down upon us who live in the third dimension.
So this thing right here. So, and sometimes you'll see this on like Ghost Hunter or whatever. But if you stand next to a wall, or you have a heater that's near a wall, or you have a computer that's near a wall, or anything that has a different ambient temperature than the object near it, there will be heat transfer to that area. So, for example, this hand right here was probably very close to this other area that's slightly warmer than the other area, and that's why it's showing up like that. It doesn't. You don't necessarily have to touch the object because heat can dissipate and go through things. All you just need to do is like stand near a wall or whatever, and if you use a sensitive thermal camera, you'll see the outline of the person who was standing near the wall. So I don't know what he believes what point he's making with this, but it's a nice thermal image.
It is.
It's very pretty.
That's why they can see through us. It's kind of like us taking a look at a two-dimensional being. We don't really have to look through anything. We can see everything that being is on 2 dimensions, like an amoeba, for example. We can see everything that's in that amoeba. We can see the walls. We can see...
But even an amoeba would actually be in 3 dimensions. It would be a 3-dimensional and also time. So it would have all of them. It would have first, second, third, and fourth dimensions.
So, you are right there.
Yeah. So what the hell is he talking about?
Guts, I would say demons can see through playing cards. You may have heard of a guy named Zendrius who talks about demon magicians. Now, I can't confirm or deny whether any of those magicians are demon magicians, but I can confirm that demons can see on the other side of a card. They can see through anything.
And again, example, I mean, what? I love how people do these videos. They just, whatever, oh yeah, aliens exist because,
I say so.
Right, exactly. They don't give any evidence. They don't give any proof. I mean, if I was going to go on YouTube, let's say, and prove to people that angels existed, let's put it that way, I would, whatever evidence I had, I would dump into that video. The entire video would be proving the existence of angels. That's what the whole video would be on. And then later on, maybe I'd make another video on it. But there would be so much that I would have to prove to even get people to sort of believe in it, There'd be so much evidence I would have to pile on, because obviously I would have no actual proof of it, and there would be a lot of naysayers. I mean, I think 99.9% of the people who came to my YouTube channel would be adamant in not believing in angels, and I would have to do so much work to prove my point. And he's not doing anything. He's just running, oh yeah, demons exist. Oh yeah, they see it in thermal. Oh yeah, and they're from the 5th dimension. Oh yeah, and they see it's like okay.
You're right. He's like showing out no evidence besides, because I say so. And you're right. Most people go, this isn't a documentary. This is just you saying you say this is true, so we have to believe it. Yep. I mean, oh yeah, by the way, good night, Moat. Have a good evening. It was nice having you here.
Night, Moat.
But all I see is pretty much, this is probably going to be an hour-long video, or, well, an hour and 12 minutes of him just saying, oh, you have to take my word for it.
Right.
He's not giving any proof. He's just giving these theories, that's what I'm seeing these as, are just nothing but theories on what demons might be able to do, or what the occult is doing, or how to unmask it, because he's not presenting any proof.
Yeah.
They can cheat for you in a game of poker, but the thing is, they're not going to cheat for you in a game of poker because they're demons. They don't help people. They don't enjoy helping people. They only enjoy messing with people and destroying.
How do you know?
Exactly.
I have demons that are very nice to me. Thank you very much. Oh, wait, no, those are cats. But still.
Demons, cats, same thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have X-ray vision.
Yeah, really.
And a better example is Superman. Now, here's from the TV show Smallville. Superman is discovering his X-ray abilities for the first time, and he sees his friend there. He just sees up to his muscles, Freaks him out so much that he falls down. And he takes a look for the first time through the wall here. And demons can do this. And I think he likes what he sees. And concerning demons, they see everyone naked. They always have and always will for all time in the past. And this is sort of how demons can see you. They see everything about you. They see through you. And I'm not saying Superman is a demon, but I am saying demons have the actual ability, whereas Superman is just a fictional character.
Oh, wow. And of course he likes what he sees in the girls' locker room. I mean, come on. I liked what I saw in that girls' locker room. But
just how bold to just say that, well, you know, I mean, Superman's a fictional character, but demons are real. Wow.
Yeah, that I'm just like, well, at least you know where some fiction draws a line.
And here he is looking through a locker, looking through the bag, seeing the money. Demons have the ability to see through the layers, just like this. And how do I know this information? How do I know? Well, I'm going to give you a few clues as to how I know.
So if Superman had the ability, and obviously this is a fictional character, and they're probably, I don't think the creator of Superman actually thought this out as much as it probably as I'm about to do. But again, if you had this X-ray vision, it would have to have some kind of a limit, because if you could just keep seeing through everything, it would be impossible. I mean, the laws of physics, it's not following it. It's just it would have to have some sort of, I know that he can't see through lead. So I guess lead is the only, so he would be basically walk around seeing everything as lead because everything else he would see through.
Yeah. But the idea of being able to control your ability of doing that is kind of what Superman can do, is control his ability to do that. He hasn't said anything or described anything that monsters can. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, and
sorry,
that's all right. Go ahead.
It's just interesting on how he is putting this out there, saying, "Oh, it's just like how Superman does it. Why didn't you use that example at the beginning?"
Yeah, but I mean, even I don't know. I mean, this is all fantasy. But if Superman was able to, like, I guess there was a muscle in the eye, like we have muscles in our eyes that dilate so that we can, you know, we can see further in the distance or shorter in the distance. You know, we can kind of focus on objects in the distance, or we can focus on objects that are in front of us, and those are muscles that work in our eyes. So if Superman had some sort of a muscle in his eye that controlled that level of X-ray vision, I guess that could work, so that he would be able to see through everything, but not lead. So I mean, I guess that's a possibility. I don't know what you would call that. I guess you know, I guess there'd be some sort of muscle in demons' eyes that allow them to perceive certain levels of looking through objects. I guess that's possible. Yeah. I mean, within the realm of possibility, you know.
But I'm just giving one more example. In the TV show Smallville, the episode is called X-Ray, I believe, and he could see through walls, see through anything, just as a demon can. I don't believe the creator of Superman ever knew this information. See, this information concerning demons is secret. It's a very occult, extreme secret. Now, here is a blog I came across by a guy named Imperial Arts. Let me preface by saying this is a blog from an extremely rare sorcerer, magician of the Goetia who has actually had success with summoning multiple demons of the Goetia. This guy admits 100% that this information is coming
So this is from the Ars Goetia.
Oh my.
I mean, that is the Ars Goetia. Oh, third. Crap. What's it called? I mean, it's the lesser key of Solomon.
Yeah.
Is it called the Thermic Goetia? Or maybe it's just called the Goetia. I think it might just be called the Goetia. But I mean, it wasn't even a rare book before the internet. I mean, you could go to a bookstore, and chances are they would probably have a copy of it. If not, you could probably go to your local library and get a copy, or you could, go to a bookstore and have them, order it for you. So even back then, it wasn't that rare of a book. But today, I mean, you can just do a simple Google search for it and probably, you can download the PDF. You can almost download any magical book that's known to exist through the internet now. You don't even have to pay for it.
No, PDFs are the best things in the world.
Yep, because all of these things are out of copyright.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from a demon, directly from a demon. Also, let me give a little warning. I do not recommend you check out this guy's blog. The reason you don't want to read the blogs, watch the videos of these actual sorcerers that practice sorcery and summon demons and communicate with demons is because they are releasing corrupted information. Being in contact willingly and purposefully with demons has corrupted them. They probably are of the opinion that demons are harmless, some are good, some help you out, some tell you the truth. Fact of the matter is, all demons lie. The only time a demon tells the truth is when it is interwoven with a lie with the intent to deceive and destroy. And the reason I believe this particular sorcerer is legit is based on this tiny snippet of information I'm going to show, which syncs up with what I already know, which is a super obscure piece of information, which is barely, if even, mentioned on the internet once. And so that's why I'm making this video, to get it out there. Do not fall for the deception. Goetia demons, let's just put it this way. The Goetia has been proven to be a hoax, similar to the Necronomicon, but a hoax from the medieval times. And just because it's a hoax from medieval times, it doesn't mean actual black magic hasn't been interwoven into it. And I believe the Necronomicon can work just as well as the Goetia.
I'm not aware of that. I've never heard that the Goetia is a hoax.
Neither have I. And I love how he says, don't go and read this guy's blog, that this, and this. It makes me want to go read the guy's blog now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, let's say, for example, you went through the whole process of, like, let's say, building, creating the sigil of the particular spirit that you're trying to contact, and you did everything, and you did the whole ritual, you did the whole, all of the various things that you have to do to contact this spirit, and you went through all the various things that you say, and a demon suddenly appeared. Yeah, that would probably freak the shit out of people. But now, I haven't worked with the Lesser Key of Solomon that much. I'm not, I wouldn't consider myself an expert in it. But when I have practiced with it, nothing happened. There was no demon that suddenly popped into existence. It just doesn't happen. So.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, I have never seen any proof that it does. I mean, I've never seen one person say, yeah, I did this, and all of a sudden all these demons appeared, and it's like, okay, what's your proof? Oh, just because I saw it. That has only been the only proof anyone has ever said. It's because I saw it.
Based on the principle that if you have the intention to communicate with the demon, whether it's a Ouija board or whatever the case may be, that intention will get you into negative places. We're talking the Exorcist movie in worst case scenario, which is extremely rare.
I love how he keeps going to, he has to reference movies that are fantasy to prove his point.
Yep.
Best case scenario, you don't know what's happening, and one day something bad's going to happen. Now, you can't blame the devil on everything. There's always that double-bladed sword. So let's just focus on this. This demon this guy is supposedly talking to, Goetia demon NAPHULA number 60, I guarantee it's not this demon. This sorcerer thinks he has been contacting the different kings of hell, the different kings of the Goetia, but the fact is, I guarantee he has been contacting his spirit familiar. Demon familiars are pretty much assigned to you since birth, and they can shapeshift into anything.
Well, it says it in this article talking about the Nifla. It even says how to pronounce it right there. Duke governing 36 legions of spirits. So it's a spirit. He's not even reading that.
No, he's not.
I'll cover this in a future episode. Demons can shapeshift into anything. Any object, we're talking anything. A dead relative, a flying saucer, you name it. Demons are fifth dimensional beings. They can trick us, stupid idiot, third dimensional beings, because they can look down on our third dimension and see us like cattle just walking around in a cow field. And they're invisible 99.999% of the time. And we can't look at them and see them most of the time. And we can't observe them. Therefore, we can't plot against them. But they have almost infinity amount of resources and time and ability to plot against us. But one thing we can do is we can know our enemy and observe and just be wary and do not contact them. I believe the contacting of demons has been the result of the spawning of many, 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 many religions. But this channel doesn't focus on religion, sports, or politics. So I'm not gonna shove my opinion down people's throat. But one thing I am.
Isn't that what he's doing right now?
Exactly. The most hypocritical statement heard on YouTube of 2018.
I'm not going to shove my opinion down your throat.
But here's my opinion.
But here's the truth, not an opinion.
Yeah, but he's not pushing religion on us. It's just that, you know, demons exist and they're bad. So, he's not pushing religion on us at all.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this stuff. Wow, I didn't know we all had our own pet demon that was with us since birth. Woohoo!
I'm going to mention is my opinion concerning the paranormal, the supernatural, and demons fall within that category. And this phrase really stuck out to me. I pointed with the sword toward the box with the fastening chain inside and asked if the spirit knew what it was. The spirit said that it did and could see all of the items inside the box, mentioning the weak chain. I gather from this, admittedly with a possibility of error, that the spirit can assist in mechanics on account of its ability to see through opaque objects and understand the inner mechanisms. Demons can see beyond more than opaque objects, I'll tell you that. Demons can see through anything and everything. You can't have a lead box that a demon can't see through. And how do I know this extremely forbidden, extremely secret occult knowledge? I'll tell you how I know. I'm not going to tell you how I know. It's too much of a secret.
What?
To tell you
Bullshit!
Away.
Wait, is that a ball gag in there?
I'll tell you that I have two instances. First,
but it's just such a cop-out. I mean, how do I know all this secret information? Well, I'm not going to tell you because it's a secret. It's like, fuck you.
It's one of those things of, so it's like, oh, I know this, but it's so much of secret that I can't let you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because the truth of the matter is he doesn't know.
It sounds like he's just coming up with this out of his ass, which obviously he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's referencing movies, he's referencing things that's just like, what the hell?
Right.
It's just like, really, dude? Really? Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I know all this stuff, but I can't let you know how I know. Really? Fuck. He is a cocktease.
Yeah. And people who practice with the Goetia, you know, the Lesser Key of Solomon, the Greater Key of Solomon, and all the various books that make it up, they, you know, you could ask 20 people who work with it on a regular basis, and each one of them is going to have a different opinion. Some are going to have to say, oh yeah, they're actual spirits that you can contact, or some might say, oh well, they're ancient deities that you can contact. Then some might say, oh well, it's a mechanism for the, you know, to develop your intuition, your divination, or whatever. And then some people might say, oh well, it's just a way to that the medieval magicians believe that they could contact certain spirits or whatever. So everybody's going to have a different opinion of it. So this particular writer who wrote that blog, he actually believes that he contacted the spirit and he spoke with the spirit. That's what he believes, you know. But again, everybody's going is going to interpret it a different way.
Hand instances. How I know that demons have X-ray vision. 2 instances I have first-hand knowledge.
He is really putting a lot of emphasis on demons being able to see through objects, so I'm wondering where he's going with this.
I do too.
1 instance took place in California. The other instance took place in Arizona. I would say that Arizona instance took place in the year 2015, and the California instance took place in the year 2011, I believe. 2011, yeah. Spaced out pretty far apart. Perhaps such instances will never happen to me ever again. There's such rare instances.
So how much you want to bet this guy isn't going to talk about what the instances were?
Well, considering he's not talking about how he knows these things, I'm pretty sure he's not really going to talk about it. Just say, well, I have these incidents, and that's all you need to know.
Right.
Where I was able to glimpse and observe how an entity observed that I know for 100% fact, demons, 5th dimensional spirit beings.
Well, he did say it's a 100% fact, so I'm kind of inclined to believe him.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if he said it was like a 50% fact, then, you know, maybe, you know, it's a 50-50, you know, wiggle room. Or 25%, maybe. But he said it's 100% fact. So you can't argue with that.
If you don't believe in demons, know this. If you don't believe in demons, I'm talking about 5th dimensional beings looking down upon us, 3rd dimensional beings. And it's not much different than us looking at amoeba through a microscope, and we can pretty much see through all the innards of that amoeba, because that amoeba is virtually a 2-dimensional amoeba. We can see its guts, we can see the walls of its body, we can see through its body, we can see everything about that amoeba. There's not much that amoeba can hide from us when it's on a slide sitting there and we're looking at it through a microscope. The same can be applied to us. We are the amoeba, and the demons or the 5th dimensional beings are the, let's just put it this way, they're in a higher dimension, They have the upper hand on us. They don't need to use technology. They use the laws of the universe to look down and see through anything and everything. So if you think you have something hidden underneath your bed or in your closet or hidden in a wall, for example, if there's $50,000 a drug dealer hid in a wall 50 years ago and he died, demon knows where that is. Demon's not going to tell you because demons don't help humans. That's the nature of demons. They do not help us.
The demon probably wants to keep it all for himself.
Probably.
And in the future, I will reveal how I know, based on those two instances, that demons have X-ray vision. But I was saving that for my book I'm writing. And
Oh, no. He's writing a book.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Well, he's spending so much time saying that demons can see through something. I'm really wondering why he's building up so much, why he's building so much up to this point.
if I give away every single occult secret that I have, and the word occult simply means hidden, if I give away every single hidden piece of knowledge that I have, my book will pretty much be not worth getting because
It's not going to be worth getting anyhow.
all the information will be in all my YouTube videos. So yes, some of my YouTube videos are hit and miss. Some are me making a bad guess. But here in this instance, in this particular video, it's pearls before swine. I'm not saying you're swine. I'm just saying some of the viewers will completely reject this and call it total hogwash. To those viewers, they are swine.
So if we're not the
Wow.
swine, if we're not the swine, then we must be the pearls. But don't you but isn't the saying don't cast pearls before swine, meaning that the swine they don't see any value in the pearls?
So even if he did say the actual truth and all prove the evidence, he's saying that he's not going to waste his time putting the evidence, because if he did, then nobody would believe him anyways. Or the naysayers would say he's wrong.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this saying, don't cast pearls before swine. I mean, isn't the gist of that saying that, you know, pigs don't understand the value of pearls, so why you know, cast it down for them to eat or use or whatever, because to them they don't care. You know, humans, we see value in pearls, but pigs aren't going to see any value in it. I mean, at least that's how I thought we were supposed to interpret that saying.
Yeah.
Because this is a pearl of knowledge that goes deeper than most sages, beyond sages. This is a piece of knowledge that is useful, and I'll tell you why. Know thy enemy. That's why. If you know this tiny piece of information, you know your enemy a little bit better. And the more you know your enemy, the more you can protect yourself against your enemy.
All right, this might actually be a good place to stop
Yeah.
before he gets into something else. So it's 1824. So I will post that. And we are watching Attribute of Demons. Okay. Oh, I'm going to stop presenting. And let me see. And let me see, the timestamp was 1824. Cool, there we go. So now we have the time for the next one. So, I mean, I don't know. This guy's crazy.
Just listening to his things like, well, I can't give you the information because then I won't have anything to write about.
You really? Yeah. But I mean, it's just so bizarre. It's like they make these claims and all of this, but they don't do anything. They don't prove anything, you know? It's just more of the same thing. It's just, oh yeah, well, this is my experience, so my experience is valid, you know. Or I've talked with other people who believe the same thing and experienced this and experienced that. It's like, well, yeah, but it's a confirmation bias. It's like everybody in our circle, everybody who we talk to are probably going to, you know, they're going to have knowledge about paganism. They might have knowledge about ancient cultures. They're probably going to have experience with working rituals. And, you know, they're going to have relatively the same opinion and viewpoint and information and historical facts that we have. So anything that we talk about related to paganism or witchcraft or whatever, it's going to be a confirmation bias, you know? So it's the same thing with him. He's talking with people around him and they're all saying, oh yeah, demons exist because such and such happened to me. And it's the same thing, you know, it's confirmation bias.
Yeah, honestly, it's like, well, because I say it's proof is apparently now how some people determine that it's proof.
Yeah.
And part of me wants to maybe get his book just to read it and giggle about it.
Mm.
But at the same time, I don't think I want to waste my money on something like that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'll have to go through and check out some of his videos and see what he's talking about. But I mean, to me, it's really nothing new. It's the same thing that I hear from other people who are usually Christian. And I guarantee you this guy's probably some type of a Christian, even though he hasn't. I mean, he just is. You can just tell that he's some type of Christian evangelical person who's making these videos. It's like I'll have comments like on the last video I did about Mouthy Buddha and SRA. And I had somebody come onto my channel and say that SRA exists because so many people believe that it happened. And even though I kind of walked them through, even in all the videos I've done about how, especially during the 1980s Satanic Panic, they were interviewing children, and the children were sort of saying what the parents wanted to say. And then they had counselors who were there who were asking and leading questions for the kids. And then they also had, you know, people who were suffering with depression or anxiety or whatever. And these counselors were talking to them and leading them and saying, oh, well, maybe you had some sort of a traumatic experience that is causing this depression, and we need to find the root of that. And then they say, oh, well, you must have had some sort of, you know, like some sort of satanic ritual abuse or something, and that's why you have this belief, because that's what they did back in the 80s. And so all of those people from this time, they still believed, some of them, not all of them. Some of them recanted it and said, oh, wow, you know what, that this was not true at all. But some of them still believe it, even to today. And so, but that's all the evidence that we have for it. There's no physical evidence. There's never been any actual group that was like arrested for, you know, kidnapping children and having them ready for some kind of a ritual sacrifice or human sacrifice. I mean, it's just so outrageous, but they just use confirmation bias to support it, you know?
Yeah. And half the time it's like, well, can you give any details? Can you give names? No, I can't give names. No one would believe me. Stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah. No one's believing you now.
Exactly. Exactly. So, all right. Well, I guess we'll just sort of, we'll go ahead and end it here. And hopefully, I hope everything's all right with Dorian.
I do too. I haven't heard from him, and let's see. There's a Twitter message, and that was you.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyhow, I hope everything's okay with Dorian, because he's, he's usually pretty good at least about contacting us and telling us that something happened. So maybe, who knows, maybe his phone died and he wasn't able to contact us or something. So, but anyhow, hopefully everything will be okay with him. And I think that's about it, unless there's anything you want to mention, Loki.
Not that I can think of at the immediate moment.
All right. So I guess we'll go ahead and end it a little early tonight. And thank you all for being here. And we will see you all next week. Blessed be and good night.
Good night, all.